Hello, welcome to part 2 of G.I. Joe mail-in offers from the 1980s, plus this part will have a 1990s bonus. I mentioned in part 1 that you could see some offers in G.I. Joe the magazine as well, and these were a couple of them, but these weren't exclusives. These are the vehicle drivers again that I showed in part 1. It's just on the back of an issue that has, my next to last issue. And this one is an offer I wish I got now that I'm looking at it, but these were all characters available in stores, but you could get them a whole bunch of figures with a collector's case for $25 and $1.50 shipping and handling. Nice offer. So I'm going to start with 4 action figures. I'm going to look at a booklet and then the 1990s item. Or items, I should say. Kind of 2 for 1 there. Okay, so the first guy here is Starduster. Now, this character had a number of variations. Let me just grab my notes. I do have no notes on this guy because I was kind of a hard time remembering everything that varied on him. So, he's basically a bunch of different characters pieced together and repainted. So my version is Duke torso, iceberg waist, and then every version has Flint's arms and Roadblock's legs. So the other variations are basically Rakondo parts. You could have a Rakondo torso and a Rakondo waist. Though there was like a mix and match going on with those. And I also mentioned in part 1, this was a guy that sometimes came with a jetpack that could go on his back. Mine did not come with that. I may have ordered it later. There's also a variation on what it says on the leg as far as copyright. Mine says 1984, even though the figure's much later. But of course, these are Roadblock's legs, so it's just whenever that version of Roadblock was made, I guess. Because you could also say 1988 on some of them. Here's just another booklet with one of the offers. He could also be purchased with this. This is the Pocket Patrol Pack. It's basically a belt, something that clips on your belt and holds a few figures. Now, one thing I also am missing is his visor. I put a clear visor on here, but he was supposed to include an all black visor. I may have it. I don't recall. It's a long time ago. I must have had it, but I can't find it right now. And his helmet has a star on it right there as well. I'm always worried about sliding helmets on people and possibly scraping paint off. His weapon is a silver version of Gung Ho's weapon. It's the grenade launcher. So this whole guy is really just all previous G.I. Joe parts repainted. Which is, common later in the action figure line. This guy, he was available first in 1987, from what I read through, can't even get that in his hand, but from G.I. Joe Serial, and then available in 1988 as a mail-in offer, and then, for a few years. That's why you end up with a few different variations as they changed him. Alright. Next up, one of the best known characters, because he was also a WWF wrestler, Sgt Slaughter. So I'm missing his baton. Again, I feel like I'm saying a lot. I'm missing this, I'm missing that. All these tiny pieces. I gotta have it somewhere, because actually I have a couple Sgt Slaughters. I have it here for comparison. This is the one that was available with a vehicle. So you could get Sgt Slaughter in stores, a different version of him, packaged with his Triple T tank. And later he was packaged with another vehicle, but that was after I had stopped playing with them, so I don't have that one. But this was the first one you could get in stores. You can see, obviously, he has a different outfit on. You got camo pants here. These pants have the G.I. Joe logo on the side, USA on his shirt. The file cards are different too. And they have the same stats, like, basic data on the character, but then the text is different, so they do vary a bit. These, if you bought action figures in the around the time frame he was available, this is expired in 1986. This was inside like every figure at the time, and it says 5 special Sgt Slaughter proof of purchase certificates. So I guess you needed to actually get 5 of these rather than flag points, and $1 for postage and handling. Not bad, really. You're essentially buying 5 other G.I. Joe characters and getting this one for $1. And the next one, perhaps one of the stranger characters or promotions, I guess. I have 2 of them, and the file cards are the same. This one has a crinkle in it, but the character actually have a variation between these guys. This is William the Refrigerator Peary, or just simply the Fridge. He's an NFL player, or he was, with the Chicago Bears. He won a Super Bowl and got immortalized as a G.I. Joe figure. So similar to Slaughter, these were inside action figures at the time, these little cards. And this one expired in 1987. And let's see what it cost. Same thing, but you needed 5 special fridge proof of purchases plus $1 for shipping and handling. Yeah, this is his accessory. It's supposed to be like a steel football on a chain. Of course, it's plastic, so it's not like you can't swing it around. The variation on mine, there's a couple variations from what I read. I've got a wristband variation. There's also a belt variation, but I think my belts are the same. It's just color differences, I think, around the buckle. I've got the wristband variation. It's very, very slight, but you can see the wristbands are reversed on these two. So like on his left arm it goes blue red, and on this one it goes red blue, and then on his right arm it's red blue, and here it's blue red. So just a reverse color on the wristbands. Another figure that was similarly, I guess, but I don't have it, is this guy, the Super Trooper. But he had a whole little comic book here. I think when I got this, because I guess I got a few figures late, even though I had stopped playing with them, I still kind of got figures once in a while, because I like G.I. Joe so much. Yeah, this one expired in 1989. I was done more or less buying them on any kind of regular basis. This took 4 Super Trooper proof of purchase certificates and $1. So not a bad price if you already had, were buying figures anyway. Okay, the next one's pretty cool. Which I'm sure many know what it is. Hopefully everyone had a chance to order it if they were a G.I. Joe fan. This is just a big version of the add-on G.I. Joe the magazine. Then here's the booklet they made available. And what this is a figure that you create more or less. I mean, they all look the same, which is this. Kind of an odd helmet, but what can you do? I think it's partially because you got to select what division he's from. So, I think the helmet was more or less representing the Air Force, but you could also choose Army, Navy, Marines, or Coast Guard. And you basically just go through this checklist. It says check 1 or check 2. You select what your character is good at, what he specializes in, and you can also name him up to 20 letters. They all came with the same accessory as well, which is this gun. So, well, hold on, it also comes with a patch. I should mention that. But when you get your figure, you get your own file card, but it's not like a little cardboard card. It's a big sheet of paper. And these are all the selections I made, which, looking at it now, I think is kind of sort of a mess, but I don't know why I picked some of these things. I definitely do it different now, but I'm just kind of I have no clue how I was coming up with these. I really didn't even know what some of this stuff was. But like the primary specialty I went with, I chose Air Force, and I went Special Forces, and then secondary specialty is Machinist, and weapons specialty, I did quite a few of these. I went with M16 and NATO and Warsaw Pact small arms, and then martial arts. I went with Kung Fu and Karate. You also could choose Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu, Zen Sword, Throwing Stars. And then you have to choose 3 schools for training. I went with Airborne School. Well, he was in the Air Force, so that makes sense. Special Forces School. He was in, specialty was Special Forces. And Emergency Medicine. So you had a lot to choose from. Recondo School, Ranger School, Flight Warrant Officers, Jungle Warfare, Desert Training, SEAL School, Military Intelligence. And then, they put together these little paragraphs talking about the character. Of course, I also did name him. I don't know if this is a stupid name. I named him Countach after the Lamborghini, which is, and the word looks alright, but if you know what the word means, there's no direct English translation. It's not even part of the Italian language. It's from the northern Italy town of Piedmont, and the language is Piedmontese dialect. So, from what I could understand, in some ways it's a vulgarity, but it's also a way to express astonishment, like saying, wow. So, yeah, that's the character's name. Then they just tell you kind of things like Countach's calm manner masks his remarkable capabilities as a military strategist. His fellow officers, however, are aware of his courage and knowledge of small arms and laser weaponry. So, it's pretty cool. I was thinking this would be really neat if Hasbro would put it online. I don't know if they ever have or will, but you don't need to get the action figure, but if they allowed you just to make selections and then would generate this, that would be pretty neat to read, because there must be a few different ones for traits, abilities, and personality based on what you selected. Because some of the selections are also kind of not even a team player, like a lone wolf. Because and I'm jumping around, but the early things, before you even pick all your skills, you pick your characteristics, like a leader, a corpsman, or a loner, and then what you're best at, like in high stress situations, you become all nerve endings and tense muscle, and when endurance is called for, you are endlessly strong, endlessly patient, and when faced with a difficult decision, your logical mind loves a challenge, which I'm thinking may have been what I chose. Then in the heat of action, you have a supremely high energy level, and then what the G.I. Joe team members consider you to be. So this, of course, is on the blog, so you can read them all. But I don't know how they affected these. It'd be neat if Hasbro still had all that and just made a little web page of it. It could let you have fun selecting different things. Okay, now before I move to the 1990 bonus, I just want to go through this little booklet, because one of the reasons I'm putting together a few G.I. Joe videos, like this, part 1 and part 2 of this are coming directly after my G.I. Joe headquarters videos in early October. I'd also hope to do another video, but that's not going to happen. It's because there's a new video game coming out in October 2020, and it's actually subtitled Operation Blackout, which surprisingly has been used on this booklet. I'm sure it's completely unrelated, but I just thought that was a neat coincidence when I was putting these together, because Operation Blackout's coming out. And plus there was supposed to be a Snake Eyes movie out the same month I'm doing these videos, but that got pushed back a year. You can see here Sgt Slaughter's baton that I couldn't find. It's very small. It's like that big. And a bunch of the offers are in here. There's the Super Trooper guy. And there's the fridge. Oh, you know what? I forgot to mention, here's another gigantic fridge ad on the back of one of the magazines. It's a nice image. It shows you his weapon better, what it's supposed to look like if it was real. And the vehicle drivers again. This is where they cost $17, whereas in part 1 I was showing you they were $16, but I knew I saw it somewhere at a higher cost. You could also order a bazooka separately. Oh yeah, and there's the dog tag. They were charging $4 for the dog tag that was part of the $5 membership in the fan club. You know, maybe it's better, but I don't think so. It looks identical in the picture. That seems a little overpriced since it doesn't even say G.I. Joe on it, unless perhaps those do. There's also some kind of game going on in here. I don't know if I ever did any of those. They had those a few times, like there's a jungle one and a USS Defiant booklet where you were trying to fill out some little game to win a. Sometimes I think it was a poster or something. And here's the. I didn't even look at the price, but the Steel Brigade guy that you made. I forgot. I don't know if I even said he was Steel Brigade, but yeah, that's $7.50. Let me just double check the price here. Yeah, $7.50 plus $1.50 shipping and handling. The shipping and handling might vary based on just how much stuff you order. I guess it was just $2 for everything you ordered. Okay, 1990s. Let me jump to the 90s. In 1994, Hasbro celebrated G.I. Joe's 30th anniversary. Now, it's not the 30th anniversary of the 3 3/4 inch toy, since those started in 1982, but G.I. Joe was originally, the 12-inch, you could call him action figure, maybe a doll, but so he was 30 years old in 1994, so what they were selling, or really almost giving away, it was pretty cheap. You just had to get proofs of purchase and $1 for shipping and handling. These are some, a small figure, and this nice big guy. I think it's the same price, but you can see I cut out the order form. I only have one page. This is what was in stores. We took the piece of paper with the order form to go order it. But I think, instead of flag points, I think it could be any proof of purchase. And I still had a bunch of packaging. I kept a lot of the card backings from the 80s, and maybe I shouldn't have cut them up, but you do need a lot of UPCs actually. 20 UPC proofs of purchase from G.I. Joe figures to get the 12-inch, and only 5 for the 3 3/4 inch version. So this is Joseph Colton, and he's a fictional name, a fictional guy they made up as the backstory for G.I. Joe. So they're called G.I. Joe after this guy Joseph. So short for Joseph. So this guy, the small one, came in a baggie like those other figures I showed in part 2. The card got a little bent though, unfortunately, probably just because the figure pressed against him when shipping. And of course, I never opened him. I was done playing with the toys, of course, in 1994, so he's still in the bag. It's a rather large gun. And then I also got the big one. I must have had all these UPCs because I didn't go around buying toys. Yeah, he's quite large. So he comes with a big accessory pack, a hat, gun, grenades, a stand, and he's just a large. I tend to call him a doll, even though I'm sure people call them action figures. Now, there is a variation on these. One, Hasbro ran out of stuff. Like, I think they still had some of them, the dolls or giant action figures left, but they ran out of the accessories. So later versions he shipped in Arctic gear, but they also just ran out altogether and didn't make new ones. And I saw on yojo.com some people just got a piece of paper saying, "We're sorry, we ran out." They didn't make more, so there's really high demand. There is a variation on the big one. His hair color. He comes in 4 hair colors. Mine is blonde. Alright, that is everything. Check out the blog just to, get a closer look at all the text, all the documents. Much easier to see probably there than in the video, and see some photos too. So, thanks for watching.